What's going on, everybody? It is D-Man coming back at it again with another YouTube video, and today we're just going to recap the game today. Happy Sunday. Titans-Jags, we get the job done. We go ahead and win it 37-19, as I do want to recap and talk about some players today that stood out to me. First and foremost, Derrick Henry obviously stood out today. 3 touchdowns, 130 yards today, I believe. Yeah, 130 yards on 29 carries. Wasn't a factor receiving the ball, but didn't have to be a factor receiving the ball. Really didn't have much in the first half. Didn't get anything going in the first half. In the second half, Derrick Henry's a different beast. We all know that. But other than Derrick Henry, some guys that stood out defensively still needs some changes, some adjustments. Something's got to be changed defensively because to start the game, I think James Robinson took off on a 55, 60-yard run there. KB was able to track him down, but that led to a touchdown. And then the next drive, they scored a touchdown. So. And it almost was a goal line stop. Almost could have been really, really nice. But unfortunately, we had Harold Landry man coverage against a tight end that probably isn't going to end well. Probably was expecting them to run the ball. But, you know, it wasn't a bad play call. You know, 4th and inches of the goal line. You probably want Trevor Lawrence to run the ball there. But Trevor Lawrence did deliver. Put it right on the money where it needed to be. But, you know, the first... few possessions for the Jags, our defense just didn't look like what we want it to look like if we want to make a run in the playoffs. You know, there's stuff that, you know, you can sit back and say, oh yeah, we won this game, don't worry about it, but you got to look ahead and you got to say, we got a tough stretch coming up, guys. Our defense has to improve, and we look to improve there and later in the game, but still, you know, what should have been, you know, they missed a field goal, so there's 3 points there. They missed an extra point. There's another point there. We got a goal line stop, which was huge, but they shouldn't even been that close to the goal line to start. You know, and if they score there and Trevor Lawrence isn't down, which Gene Steratore said that he thought it was a touchdown because it was like a fumble, and then he recovered it in the end zone, and it should have been a touchdown, but they ruled him down. And then the following play, Tier Tart made a great play, straight up the gut, forced, surprisingly put Carlos Hyde in the game, forced him to bounce it outside, and I believe it was Chris Jackson who was able to make a play and force Carlos Hyde the other way. Surprisingly, you know, you didn't see James Robinson there, but good for us, I guess. Got the goal line stop, but it shouldn't have been that close anyway. So if you look at the score, you would have thought, you know, man, the Titans handled business today, handled it well. But, you know, if you watch the game, you know the defense still struggled to stop another rookie quarterback for the second week in a row, at least for a half this week. So, yeah, I felt like offensively, really, I like the play calling a lot more than I did last week. It felt like we were just, when we got into the red zone, we were gonna score. And Derrick Henry, you hand the ball off to Derrick Henry red zone, good things are gonna happen. So, you know, when we had to pass, we passed in the red zone. When we didn't have to pass, we gave the ball to Derrick Henry, which I loved. So yeah, I mean, we saw Michael Pruitt, who got a touchdown reception today, who I really love. I love Michael Pruitt. So he got him a touchdown today. Another guy that stood out offensively would be Marcus Johnson, who we saw for the first time since the preseason, I believe. And I'll go ahead and check out. I think he had like 3 catches today, but I want to double check and make sure. Michael Pruitt had 1 catch today, 1 touchdown. Marcus Johnson had 3 catches on 5 targets, 52 yards. So, again, he was a pretty, you know, he was a factor in this one. So, yeah, A.J. Brown only had 3 catches today on 6 targets for 38 yards. But again, when you come into the game with Derrick Henry and A.J. Brown, teams are going to, plan to stop those 2 guys. They're going to game plan to stop Derrick Henry, and then once they sack the box of Derrick Henry, they're probably going to double team A.J. But maybe the factor, the hamstring might have been a factor too. But, A.J. Brown still has yet to show me anything special this year. So we'll have to see on that. Julio's played really good when he has played. But, maybe when Julio returns, A.J. will get some opportunities. I think he's only scored, 1 touchdown this year. That was the first game of the year. But hopefully he can step it up. Josh Reynolds really wasn't a factor this game. McNichols, we didn't see much of him. I mean, we saw a good bit of him. He got hurt there a little bit later on in the game, but when he gets his chances, he definitely contributes. Chester Rogers, what do you have? A catch today? I think he had 1 good catch. I think it was a pretty solid game too, maybe about 20-25 yards. Ferkser, still haven't seen much from Ferkser. I mean, he had 3 catches, but it was really just gimmies. 2 of them were gimmies. Like I was saying, there was like a 3rd and 20 on both of them, and Tanny just dumps it off to him. He gets about 8-9 yards. So, I mean, those catches didn't really impress me. But offensively, it was Derrick Henry. 3 touchdowns, 130 yards on the ground. He's on pace for about 2,100 yards this year. So he has a chance, with the new 17-game season, he has a chance. If he gets over 117 yards a game, that's on pace for 2,000 yards. So, we could see what he's averaging right now, but I won't in this one. It might take a little bit, but he's on pace to, he's going to have a chance to break the single season record. But obviously, we're in pretty much of a new, 17-game season, so I don't know if they're going to, actually, the record of Eric Dickerson, he has the most yards in a season, so I don't know the 17-16 game if that's going to factor in or not. But Henry definitely has a chance to break Dickerson's record. The pace he's going at right now, I mean, phenomenal. But yeah, offensively, just a lot of Derrick Henry. Defensively, like I said, we got a couple of things to adjust. Got to make some changes defensively if we want to have a chance to. Man, the Cowboys just fumbled the ball. That's tough. But defensively, we still got to make adjustments. This team isn't going to go deep in the playoffs if we can't stop Trevor Lawrence or Zach Wilson. It's just that simple. But you did see a little bit of improvement, I would say, coming off of last week. But still, the game shouldn't have been as close as it, the game should have been a lot. We should have been able to handle. It shouldn't have ever got to a point where they could have made it a 31-25 game, which almost happened. And then, they had a chance to win at that point. Bend but not break type of defense, but you don't want to see. You want to be in control of the game for the most part. But oh man, Harold Landry, probably the MVP of the defense in this one. We had that early fumble recovery, pretty much put us up 7-0, gave us a little, pretty much head start on the game. Great play by Elijah Molden, putting his hat right on the ball, forcing the fumble. KB scoops it up, takes it all the way for a touchdown. That was pretty good there. And then we saw Harold Landry had 2 sacks today. If you look at a couple of splash plays defensively, we didn't look like we played that bad. Only gave up 19 points, but again, it is a Jags, so I would like to see that number be closer to 10. But, defense, if you think about it, defense really didn't play all that bad. You had a couple of splash plays, but if you think about the amount of points that were scored, you'd be like, defense didn't play that bad. But if you watch the game, you had a missed field goal, missed extra point for the Jags, missed field goal, missed extra point. You had a drive where they took it all the way inside. to 1 inch line, and they couldn't punch it in. Big play, like I said, Tier Tart. But then, the final drive of the game, Vrabel still wants to get a stop. He's calling timeouts with 3 seconds left. Make sure that they don't score here, and we get a pick there, which is probably just Trevor trying to force one in there late. But there's Kevin Byard. He gets another pick, so he's got 2 picks in 5 weeks, so not a bad look for him. Again, that last one there was kind of just Trevor throwing it up there. But, yeah, nothing really else to say play calling wise. Offensively, I think that was much improved from last week. I think we were playing with the Jets a little bit too much last week, throwing the ball inside the 10 just didn't make any sense to me last week. But when we got in the red zone this week, we were running the ball, and we saw Derrick Henry the 2 touchdown runs he had, he didn't even get touched. On the first one, he didn't get touched at all. Second one, he got touched. Maybe, he got hit at the 2-yard line or so. But he's still, the Tennessee Titans are a run-first team. And when you get inside the 10-yard line, you got to hand it off to double 2 to punch it in for you. But like I said, coming up, we'll talk a little bit ahead. Jacksonville, not really scary of an opponent, but we got the job done. New York Jets, not really scary of an opponent, but we lost to them. So it's a good bounce-back win to get the momentum going in to next week's Monday night game against Buffalo. That'll be a big one. That'll be a really, really big one. But also tonight, we do have the Ravens and Colts, so I guess we'll be cheering for Lamar Jackson as much as I don't like to cheer for the Ravens. We'll be cheering them on tonight, I guess. So the Colts, what are they? 1-3 right now. So if they go to 1-4 and we go to 3-2, it's looking really, really promising for us. But we do have a tough little 3, actually 4, maybe even 5 game stretch. Probably the toughest 4 to 5 game stretch there is. You go next week, Monday night against Buffalo, and then you got Kansas City the week after that at home, so that'll be a little bit of a advantage there at home. And then you go to Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis and play the Colts after you just got done playing the Bills and the Chiefs. And then you make the trip to L.A. and play the Rams on a Sunday night game. So we got a couple of, national televised games coming up against Buffalo and L.A., primetime games, Monday night and Sunday night. But then after that, you play New Orleans, who doesn't look that bad. Jameis Winston, again, still playing like Jameis Winston, but he's, I don't think all that bad. I don't think New Orleans is all that bad at all. So definitely a tough little 5-game stretch. If we could get 3 wins out of those next 5 games, I would be extremely happy. Maybe we beat Buffalo and Indianapolis and then New Orleans, or we beat Kansas City, Indianapolis, and the Rams. It could be any of those 3 would be nice. I'd love for Indianapolis to definitely be a win. But it looks very scary looking forward. You got Buffalo, KC, Indianapolis, LA, 4 weeks in a row. Then you go to New Orleans, or home against New Orleans. And then you got Houston, New England, then you got your bye. So if we can get to the bye with about, what do we got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games, maybe get to the bye week with 4 wins out of those 7, which would put us at 7-5 at the bye week. And then you got Jacksonville, then you got Pittsburgh, who is an interesting team there, San Francisco, Miami, Houston. So 3-2 in the first 5 weeks. I would have been happy with that, because you see Arizona, you see Seattle, you see Indy, New York, Jacksonville. So if you thought 3-2 at the first 5 at the beginning of the year, you might have been thinking loss to Arizona, loss to Seattle, loss to Indy, or loss to Arizona and Seattle, and then wins against Indy, New York, and Jacksonville. But we beat Seattle, beat Indy, and then beat Jacksonville. So we have a tough stretch coming up. That's really what it comes down to, and we just got to take care of business. Both home games against Buffalo and KC, so that'll give us a little bit of an advantage there. We know what we did to Buffalo last year, so we can come out and do the same thing. That would be just really nice. But I don't think that's going to be the case. I think Buffalo's going to be coming out. They remember what happened last year on that Tuesday night, and they're going to be coming back and trying to kill us. So if we can just, gosh, it's going to be a tough little stretch here. But, you know, hopefully the guys, we can make adjustments defensively, and hopefully, you know, Christian Fulton's okay. Hopefully we get a little bit healthy. You know, Julio's back, hopefully against Buffalo, and AJ's back against Buffalo. Obviously, AJ back today, but hopefully we have Julio, AJ, and Derrick Henry back for the next 4-5 weeks. It's going to be tough. We just got to stay healthy. Staffel went down today. Checking in on him. We just got to get healthy. Just got to get healthy. That's really the key point. Got to get healthy for these next few games, because it's going to be a tough little stretch here. So that being said, that is going to do it for the video. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. And until next time, I'll see y'all.